Welcome back to Let's Go Racing. Well, DJ, you got to catch up with one of the most interesting track announcers in United States history, and Pete Aiello. He's a really fun guy.
He is. I'm a big fan. I love his calls at Gulfstream Park, and Chris Griffin, of course, set this up, and he and Pete are friends, and I know you're friends with Pete as well. I didn't really know Pete, but it was a fascinating interview to chat with the race caller at Gulfstream Park, Danny.
Yeah, fun fact, he has a greyhound, which I think is really cool. Luna Bell. Here's your interview with Pete Aiello.
I know you're a Florida guy and you'd had jobs at a number of different tracks. When you got the job at Gulfstream, and of course you're still there going strong, what was that moment like that you got to come back home and call the races permanently?
Well, it's so strange because I had literally traversed the globe. I started in, like I said, I'm a Florida bred, born and raised in West Palm Beach, about an hour from what was then the three tracks in the circuit of South Florida, Calder, Hialeah, and Gulfstream. So I was actually already back home working at Hialeah with the quarter horses when I got the opportunity to pinch hit when Gulfstream took over summer racing, or tried to take over summer racing at that point, because they were still running heads up against Calder in 2013. But it's crazy too. Always on the big days, and especially in the summertime, Summit of Speed or the Stallion Series days, it's always a surreal moment for me, because I can remember going to those events as a fan. So it's kind of that full circle moment of being down on the rail watching and enjoying those race days as a fan, to being upstairs watching and enjoying them on the mic. It's really, it sounds so cliche, Dick, it really does, but it's really just a surreal, like, wow moment every time.
16th to go, Three Witches driven out. Mary Quite Contrary running out of time. Here's the wire. It's Three Witches to win the Princess Rooney.
How many tracks did you call it? I mean, I saw some of them, Rito Park and Tucson and River Downs and Oaklawn for a while. Do you even know how many you called out over the years?
Not as many as some of the other guys probably, but probably some places that nobody's ever heard of. The Gila County Fair in Globe, Arizona, the Cochise County Fair in Douglas, Arizona. I worked at Evergreen Park for a season. I got behind the mic up there, so I can say that I've called races at the farthest north track in North America and the farthest south track in North America. So I don't think that's worth anything, but it's kind of a cool feather in my cap.
And they're off in the Florida Derby. Excellent beginning for Classic Causeway from down toward the inside. Simplification was away in good shape today, and he's up to challenge from second.
Pete, when you get to call races like the Florida Derby and the Pegasus, what are those moments like for you? Because each time I hear you call them, it's like you're calling them for the first time.
Well, I kind of feel that way, so I'm glad it comes across that way. I never aspired to be in that position, and I know that may sound strange, but for me, and I always use the baseball analogy, I was quite content to be a double-A or a triple-A baseball player my whole life, because as long as I got paid to play the game that I love, I was okay with that. So, being behind the mic for the Pegasus or the Florida Derby, they never seemed like attainable goals to me. And I guess that's kind of been a recurring theme throughout my career, that I never really, until that first Pegasus was over and I didn't mess it up, I really never really believed that I belonged in that echelon.
Now at the top of the stretch, Simplification bracing for an oncoming White Barrio. Papa Cap is very game between horses, and Charge It swings into action on the far outside. There's an eighth of a mile to go. White Barrio takes over from Simplification.
The same company that owns Gulfstream obviously owns Santa Anita Park, and you got a chance this year to call a couple of Breeders' Cup races on site. Frank took a couple races off, and you got the call. What was that like, to get the call to Breeders' Cup races?
That was crazy on so many levels, because I thought until I literally got on property that it was some sort of a prank, because I couldn't believe that Frank was gracious enough to give me the opportunity to call some Breeders' Cup races.
Favorite race call through the years for you?
Easy, first Pegasus.
They're off in the Pegasus World Cup. Arrogate was away well, and so was California Chrome, but Noble Bird wins the start, and he'll go looking for the lead.
That was that I proved myself moment. I've never been as emotional as I was after that Pegasus. I had burst into tears, and they were big, heavy, and sincere tears.
What a race! What a sport! What a horse! Arrogate romps in the Pegasus!
That was a career highlight, because it was like climbing the ladder to the top, going from my very first race, which was $1,000 maiden race, going half a mile at Rillito Park, to the world's richest race, calling California Chrome and Arrogate.